Final question comes from Trevor. Dear Andy, I like to think of myself as one of the more reasonable Tennessee fans. I'm 24, so most of my life I watched Tennessee be average at best. Unrelated with the first Tennessee game I attended was the 2019 Georgia State loss. Because of all this mediocrity, I've had pretty low expectations, and when something good actually happens, I'm ecstatic. When last season came and ended, I was pumped. This was the best Tennessee team in my memory. Hendon Hooker going down versus South Carolina was tough, but the Orange Bowl win was an amazing ending of the season, especially since it was without the majority of our playmakers on offense. That Orange Bowl victory made me believe we would be okay without Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, and Cedric Tillman. I messed up. I raised my expectations. I'm not in the club that's yelling Joe Milton sucks, put in Nico, the sky is falling, but I thought we would look significantly better than we do now. I was pleased with the win this weekend versus UTSA, but Tennessee still did not look like they could score whenever they wanted to like they did last year. I need help, Andy. Should I revert back to just being happy to win more than 6 games, or am I safe to have higher hopes? Ooh, this is a tough question, Trevor. This is a tough, and it's tough. If Trevor hadn't included his age, then I might answer this question differently. So he's 24. He wasn't alive when Tennessee last won the national championship. He wasn't there. He doesn't know what 98 feels like. So we're going on a guy whose earliest memories, because we probably start noticing this stuff, remembering when you're 6, 7 years old. Maybe the SEC East title in 07, maybe. But probably your earliest memories are 08 when they're firing Philip Fulmer, and then the Lane Kiffin year, and then the Derek Dooley era. So like his best memories as a Tennessee fan might be 2016 beating Florida and then beating Georgia in the Dobdale boot game, and then everything come crashing down when they lose to South Carolina. Or again, like he said, last year beating Alabama, then finishing off in the Orange Bowl. So Trevor's expectations are not what we think of when we think of the traditional Tennessee fan expectations, because we think of the person who lived through the 90s, who saw them be one of the best teams in the SEC, one of the best programs in the country consistently year after year after year, or someone who's even older who remembers the glory days back way, way back when. But Trevor's never lived that. The best he's lived was last year. So he got a taste of it, and then they go lose to Florida, and it's like, uh-oh, wait, is this back to every... I don't know the answer to that, Trevor. I think it's up to Josh Heupel and his team to figure out whether they can bounce back this season and whether they can make this a special year again. I don't get the sense that they can run the ball as well as they did last year, which takes that offense out of sync. And maybe when Cooper Mays gets back and is playing and the offensive line is fully healthy, maybe that's different. Maybe that allows the offense to be a little more score at will. But we'll be right back with more show. But first, I want to tell you about Game Time. It's the place to get last-minute tickets. We talk about this Notre Dame-Duke game, the game day game. College Game Day is going to be there. Maybe the biggest game at Wallace Wade Stadium ever. Ever? You want a ticket? You can get in for $123 on Game Time. That's right. Go to the Game Time app, search Duke football, couple clicks, you're looking at the seat you could be sitting in at Wallace Wade Stadium. You turn the phone one way or the other, it's like you're moving your head inside the stadium. You see exactly what you get, and then you're at that point only 2 taps away from that ticket being yours. And the price that you see is the price you pay. There's not a bunch of hidden fees. Now, let's say you're thinking, I want to see another traditionally good basketball school play against a traditional football power. Maybe you want to go see Kansas, undefeated Kansas, take on Texas in Austin. Well, you can get into Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium for $55 on Game Time. There's a lot more seats at DKR than there are at Wallace Wade Stadium. So $55 if you want to see 2 undefeated teams clash in Big 12 play. Just go to Game Time. The last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Enter the code STAPLES, and you get $20 off your first purchase. That's STAPLES, my last name. $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app right now. Doesn't matter if it's sporting events, concerts, comedy shows. They've got tickets to everything, and they've got the lowest prices and the easiest transactions at the last minute. The stress, completely gone. Go to Game Time, promo code Staples, $20 off your first purchase. It may also be that Hendon Hooker was very special, that Jalen Hyatt was someone who was so fast that very few people could actually cover him. Cedric Tillman banged up a lot of last year, but really helped get that thing going in Josh Heupel's first year with Hendon Hooker. And so I think it's so hard when you get your first taste of success in a while, because it is impossible to understand or figure out if it's going to be sustainable. And I think that's the big question for Tennessee is you saw them build with Hendon Hooker. Could you sustain it with another quarterback? I do think you can. Is Joe Milton the right one? I don't know yet. I don't know. And it's hard to answer that. I'm with you. I don't think it's time to say just, go to Nico, go young, figure it out later. But I do want to see more out of this offense than we've seen so far. It felt like they were so out of sync against Florida, again, because I don't think they could run the ball the way they want to. And this offense, if you're not gaining yards on the ground, if you're not gaining yards when the box is light, you can't throw, because they'll just keep the box light and stop you from running the ball, and they'll be able to cover what you want to do through the air. So that's where Tennessee's got to get better. When that box gets light, they have to be gaining 5-6 yards on the ground, because that brings the other person in the box. That opens up what you want to do in the throw game. So we'll see. As far as the existential things, what you should expect, you may want to brace yourself. You may want to brace yourself. This may feel, I'm not going to say Jeremy Pruitt era, but it may feel like kind of the mid-Butch Jones era where you're just not quite there yet. And that, I know that's frustrating, but that was a really good season last year. There's a lot of teams in the SEC that are spending a lot of money to try to be as good as Tennessee was last year. So they're going to be trying to knock them off. The wins against Tennessee are going to feel bigger. They're going to get everybody's best shot. All of the things you actually want to happen, but the problem is when you don't have the team to withstand it, it's not the results you want. So Trevor, good luck. And I think probably the best thing I can say to you to make you feel better is at least you're young, because you've got some older Tennessee fans, and I'm sure they'll tell you about it. They thought they were getting back to the 90s. They thought they were getting back to year after year after year, and they know what that feels like. You don't even know what that feels like yet. So imagine how they feel right now. Hang in there. Go to Scrambled Jake's. Get one of those cinnamon rolls. You're going to be all right. But as far as Tennessee, yeah, I don't know that this is going to be a special year. But it's going to be okay. Hang in there. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.